There's something nobody tells you about failure.
I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career.
Our upbringings and innate desire for self-acceptance conditioned us to fear it.
I've lost almost 300 games.
But what is failure, really?
I've failed over and over and over again in my life.
Is it rejection? Or not living up to your self-imposed standards? Everyone's definition of failure is different. What if it wasn't any of that? What if your entire life you've been wrong about failure, hardwired to believe it was a bad thing, and that's why you fear it so much?
And that is why I succeed.
The other day, someone came to me with a problem. He had a business idea that was working and it was going pretty well for them. The only issue was that he was still working a day job and struggling to manage both. However, he knew that the next step for him was to go all in and quit his job and dedicate everything to it. But there was the constant pressure of failure that kept holding him back. He was scared. He had a genuine fear of failure. He told me, what if I go all in on the business and it fails? I'd lose my job, my dignity, everything that convinced me I was good enough. And that begged the question. Should you take the risk and pursue something you're passionate about knowing you might fail? Or to stay, play it safe and spend the rest of your life wondering, what if? He didn't know what to do. So instead of talking about business, I asked him a different question. When was the last time you approached a stranger? He was confused. What does talking to a stranger have to do with quitting your job? So I told him. Everything. Whoa, hold on. I come to you for advice on leaving my job to go all into my business and you bring up talking to a stranger? These things have nothing to do with each other. So I sat him down and told him, okay, so to understand how these two completely unrelated events connect, I have to tell you a story of a legend. His name is Michael Jordan. And like most tales as old as time, it was built on a lie. You've heard his story before. He was cut from his high school basketball team, went home and cried, used it as fuel to work even harder, came back, and then the rest is history. Well, the whole thing was actually just a blatant misconception. What actually happened was Jordan was a sophomore who tried out for the varsity team and was placed into junior varsity instead, which for a sophomore was completely normal. The guy across from me goes, okay, so if Jordan didn't actually get brutally cut, doesn't that just disprove the entire motivational point that you're about to make? Well, no. If anything, it actually enforces it. Think about the psychology of Michael Jordan. At 15, his internal standards were already so absurdly high that not making the varsity roster, whether history calls it a cut or a placement, felt like a catastrophic rejection. But he could have used that as proof he'd failed. Proof he wasn't good enough. Or he could keep trying and come back even stronger. Well, you know what happened. He picked the second option. But just imagine how many people would have picked the first. There are people out there who'd use that moment as confirmation they should quit. They attach so much meaning to the outcome itself that even the smallest of setbacks, like getting placed in JV instead of varsity, is a failure. And it's the most dangerous way to think about failure, because what ends up happening is you create a mental distortion in your mind that convinces you to give up. You get rejected from a job means you're not good enough, that you'll never be able to get a job because you're just inherently bad at what you do. You start a business and the first month is slow, you'll never be a successful entrepreneur. That's where the fear of failure comes from. So the guy looks at me, okay, cool story, but can you just get to the point? Should I quit my job or not? I told him first, I need to ask you something. What do you actually think failure is? Because everyone thinks of it differently. He told me, well, it'd be a failure if I quit my job and my business goes bankrupt. But that's not failure. Failure is only one thing: giving up. Rightfully, the guy was still confused about how any of this has to do with talking to a stranger. But don't you see it? You can't remember the last time you approached a stranger because doing so is so deeply rooted in your fear of failure. The fear that if you go up to them, they'll reject you. And you attach so much meaning to that rejection that it affects how you think about yourself. the courage to speak to someone, and the courage to leave your job exercises the same part of your brain, just different risk levels. So you're asking me to find the courage to do one of the biggest risks of your life in quitting your job when you can't even remember the last time you took a small risk of failure. Of course, you're going to be hesitant. But hey, you don't have to risk it. You have another option after all. You can play it safe. He looked at me and said, yeah, that was kind of the option I was leaning towards. I can try finding success in my business without actually taking the risk. And yeah, that might work. Maybe you keep working on the business on the side until you have enough guaranteed income to finally quit. Zero risk. But what would that actually teach you? That success comes by playing it safe? Your risk tolerance goes down. And maybe there's another investment that you want to make down the line, but you're hesitant about that because you never actually overcame your fear of failure. Playing it safe and not taking any risks, even if you actually succeed, won't help you grow because achievement alone won't solve the underlying fear. If you went your entire life only succeeding and never knowing what failure felt like, you'll never have the courage to do anything beyond what you know you can do, and that'll kill so many opportunities. When Michael Jordan made his varsity team the next year, he realized that recovering from failure was possible. That's how he gained the courage to take game-winning shots over and over again, because he knew that even if he missed, he could recover. So the guy looks at me like he's finally starting to understand what I'm saying. Okay, I see how they connect now. But if Jordan didn't make his varsity team, it's not the end of the world. If my business fails, I'll have nothing. Well, yeah, I told him, different risk levels. And the only reason you don't believe you can recover from that is because you haven't built any proof that you could. Okay, so how do I actually do that? He tells me. Well, first, you need to actually reprogram the way you think about failure, because right now, you see it as a negative. But failure should be something you want. Michael Jordan didn't just fail once, he failed over and over again, lost in the first round of the playoffs multiple times, missed hundreds of crucial shots, he failed publicly in front of millions of people. And every single time, he came back. Because it didn't make him worse, it gave him courage. Each time you fail, you get braver and braver. Each time you succeed, you get more comfortable. So if I had two options, taking a risk and failing, or playing it safe and succeeding, I'd choose the first one every time. Success without failure isn't fulfilling because the risk is what gives the reward its meaning. What would an NBA championship mean if you never risked a single thing to get there? You never lost a single game, never struggled, never failed, and never endured real loss. This is a picture of Michael Jordan crying in the locker room after winning his first NBA championship in 1991. This moment meant so much to him because of all the loss he had to go through. Getting swept in the playoffs, missing game winners, everything. For a small point in time, it was worth it. So are you finally starting to understand? I asked the guy. He nodded in approval. I'm ready, he told me. I think I'm finally ready to fail. You still feel it though, don't you? The fear? Even when you say you're ready, the fear is still creeping in the back of your mind. And it's never going to go away. Even after Jordan won his first championship, the fear of failure was still prevalent. Even when he knew he could recover from failure, he was still scared. So maybe I'm not asking you to stop fearing failure. Failure is scary. I'm not denying that. But what I'm telling you is to feel the fear and do it anyway, because the fear will always be there. But the longer you wait, the bigger it grows. So the best time to overcome it is now, and the only way to do that is to fail while you're still scared. But start small, fail small, and build up. That's why I say talking to a stranger is the best way to start, because the risk is minimal. But it feels like such a daunting task because our minds convince us that the rejection is as big as a deal to others as it is to ourselves, that if we go up to someone, they'll think about it just as much as we do, but in reality, they're going to forget about it the next day. And that feeling like everyone is constantly judging you, watching your every move, waiting for you to fail, is related to our ego. The people who fear failure the most are often self-centered because they feel as if everyone cares about their failures as much as they do. But truthfully, you're not the center of people's lives. No one is judging you as much as you judge yourself. Finally, the guy looked at me like he finally understood. I'm not ready to quit my job. I came to you for advice on how to stop being scared, but the fear was never going to go away, no matter what you told me. The only way for me to overcome it is to just do it before I'm ready. And now I know. I'm willing to take the risk, even if it means I fail, but I'm not willing to live the rest of my life wondering, what if? This entire time I've been telling you this story. The person sitting across from me, that was you. Maybe you're not in the same situation as him, but I know there's something out there that you're scared of failing at. A risk that you're waiting to feel ready to take. There are going to be times in your life where you face failures bigger than the ones you're facing now. And if you don't overcome this one, the one right in front of you, you won't have the courage to overcome those either. Instead, you'll go your entire life doing things you're comfortable at. You'll get a comfortable job because at least it's guaranteed. You'll talk to the same friends because meeting new people means risking rejection. You'll stay in the same city because starting over feels like too much of a risk. You'll stick to the same routine because you'll be too scared to try anything new. And nothing will go wrong. But nothing will feel remarkable either. And somewhere in the back of your mind, there will be a question that never goes away. What if I had just tried? All you'll be left with is regret. That's something you should fear. A life lived entirely inside the boundaries of what you already know you can do. So I'll ask you the same question I asked him. When was the last time you approached a stranger?